Well, Ambassador, thank you for receiving us, for talking with us.
I thank you very much. It's a pleasure for me.
Well, can you tell us why is there a lot of interest from Turkey to Latin America and also in Mexico, specifically in trade terms?
We are opening up to Latin America. Of course, Latin America is is a big market, and culturally it's similar to Turkey. So we can communicate very easily with Latin American countries, especially with Mexico. For us, Mexico is a strategic partner, legally speaking. We need friendship, cooperation, and new markets.
What can you tell us about the tourism between Mexico and Turkey? We know that in the last days, the Foreign Minister of Mexico made an alert about the security in this country because of the military attempt.
First of all, let me address this alert notice of the Foreign Ministry. Of course, it was done upon the negative development in Turkey, which was the attempt of military coup d'etat in Turkey, which has failed. Now everything is back to normal in Turkey. This notice is no more necessary. If you look at the security situation in Turkey, we are a country with a very low rate of criminality. So daily life is safe in Turkey. You can move around, especially in Istanbul, in big cities, in other touristic places, very, very safely. And second thing, of course, there are terrorist attacks from time to time, but they happen everywhere in the world. So we need a stronger international cooperation to fight terrorism. That's another subject.
What else can you tell us from this military attempt? It created a political crisis, or you see some benefits as the union of the population, or this renewal of the relationship between Turkey and Russia?
It has not created a crisis in Turkey. On the contrary, it has reinforced, enhanced national unity. So, because this, not only the government, but the army, especially the people, opposed this attempt of military coup. So that was a big occasion to confirm Turkey's attachment to democracy and human rights. Russia and Turkey are very important actors in the region, and we are also very good partners. We have a huge trade and business between two countries, so we cannot give up this trade and business. We both gain from this. We exchange a lot of goods, and we also make investments in Russia. We are very active in the construction sector. And regarding the regional issues, we also have a political dialogue.
We saw that Turkey was very grateful with Russia from this support that they received in this military attempt, and they also said that they didn't feel like this support from the US, and also they are expecting the extradition from Fethullah Gulen. What can you tell us about this?
So the US and other countries should stand with this with the legitimate government and with the legitimacy, of course. Regarding the extradition of Fethullah Gulen, who's known as the leader of this international network which is involved in terrorism now, it is declared as a terrorist organization by Turkish authorities. Of course, he's responsible for all these illegal actions in Turkey. So it is very normal that we request his extradition from the US. So that is a bilateral issue now. We are treating this with the US government, and at the end of today, they should deliver Fethullah Gulen to Turkey.
With this renewal of the partnership with Russia, is there a risk that you get apart from NATO?
No, 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 no. So we are one of the first members of NATO. Since 1952, we have been a member of NATO. We have the second largest army of NATO after the United States. But Russia is also our neighbor and partner. While keeping our strong ties with NATO, it is we need to also to develop our relationship with Russia.
So the strategy against ISIS is going to be stronger now that you are partners with Russia?
If we cooperation with Russia is against ISIS is all welcome. That needs that remains to be seen. But there is a dialogue between relevant authorities of both countries. ISIS is a threat to which we have to fight altogether against which we have to fight altogether at international level. But ISIS and the other democratic opposition should be separated from each other. While fighting ISIS, we should not prejudice the democratic opposition in Syria.
Do you think ISIS has lost power in the last months?
It is losing power, it is losing power base, it is losing territory which they have occupied lately. So I think at the end of the day they will be defeated.
So do you think then having more control of migration could help to prevent terrorist attacks?
In Turkey also, I mean, we need to control migration, and that's again an international cooperation issue. There, the basic concept is burden sharing of the burden. Because why there is migration? Because of the situation in Syria.
Well, thank you very much for receiving us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
It was my pleasure talking to you.
Pues ahí tiene esta entrevista exclusiva.